It's Friday morning here on the Football Spy Show in association with our sponsors, Renault. We've got another packed show for you today, including your reactions to the Champions League draw. We've got some more of your entries to our competition to win a Premier League shirt, and we've got your teams and the way you want them to line up this season. But let's start, as always, with some transfer news. And you may already know by now that Barcelona have signed the Liverpool midfielder Javier Mascherano on a 4-year deal for around £16 million, rising to £22 million. What you may not know is that the Udinese midfielder Gökhan Inler is alongside Scott Parker at West Ham on the list of possible replacements to come in at Anfield. Also news breaking out of West Ham, they've made a bid to sign the Portsmouth captain Mark Wilson this morning. Middlesbrough are loaning up a loan move for the Hamburg midfielder Mikel Tavares. Lots of English papers suggesting this morning that Robbie Keane is on his way to Newcastle from Spurs on a season-long loan deal. West Ham also in the hunt for him. Talksport.co.uk say Man City striker Emmanuel Adebayor is determined to leave Man City before the end of the window if an offer comes in for him. He's been speaking this morning to confirm as much to the Mirror Football website. In our own Daily Mirror, Spurs are in talks with AC Milan to bring the Dutch striker Klaas-Jan Huntelaar to White Hart Lane on a season-long loan deal. The Mail say that Fulham boss Mark Hughes is set to raid his former club City to sign striker Roque Santa Cruz and the goalkeeper Shay Given. Santa Cruz, yes, Given, I'm not so sure. On the Mirror Football website, Stoke and Portsmouth lining up a swap deal with winger Liam Lawrence and striker Dave Kitson set to head for the South Coast, and Mark Wilson, he's in demand, heading for Staffordshire. And ESPN say the Marseille president Jean-Claude Dassler's confirmed Hatem Ben Arfa's on his way to Newcastle on a season-long loan. Now then, the Champions League draw's been made. We've been taking in your reactions. Spurs are in it for the first time and they must surely fancy their chances of reaching the knockout stages. They do have the champions, Inter Milan, who should finish top of Group A. But after that, they've got the Germans of Werder Bremen, their 7th Champions League campaign, and Steve McLaren's old club FC Twente, who are making their debuts. Man United are going to be happy with Valencia, and Rangers, managed by Sir Alex's old assistant Walter Smith. They may not have the quality, but they do have the spirit. Valencia, of course, have sold their best 2 players, David Villa and David Silva. Bursaspor, champions of the Turkish Superliga, they're very much an unknown quantity. Arsenal have a reunion with Eduardo. They play Shakhtar Donetsk as well as Braga. They knocked out Celtic and Partizan Belgrade. Chelsea are in Group F with Marseille, Spartak Moscow and Slovakian champions Zelina. And your views have been flooding in. Steve's a Spurs fan. He says here, we've got some great ties coming up. Knockout stages, here we come. Adele is in Australia. She's an Arsenal fan. She says here, we'll be fine in that group. We've got the experience and the quality. Kyriagos is in Greece. He thinks Man United will easily get through their group, but he does make an interesting point. He says that it's in the Spurs group where there are decent ties, as the other British clubs should get through fairly comfortably. Let me know your views on your club, wherever you are in Europe, and we'll get them onto the show. Now, obviously, with just 4 days remaining of the transfer news, we've got news, transfer window, we've got news coming in all the time. Here's a bit more, because Chelsea have denied tabling a €40 million, £33 million offer for the Real Madrid Spanish international defender Sergio Ramos. And the Manchester United chief executive David Gill, he has ruled out United making any more signings before the close of the window on Tuesday. Time for your teams and the way you want them to line up this season. Ben is 14, he's in Berkshire, and he's sent in his West Brom team. It's a 4-5-1 formation, but I'm not sure about Mark Wilson at left back. I do like Derek Boateng in central midfield. Graham Dorrans behind Odem Wingy is a good attack as well. Method sent in his England team. This time no Gomez in goal. It's Joe Hart with Jagielka in at centre-half instead of Rio. Carrick's in front of the back four with Gerrard and Barry in front of him. Walcott and Adam Johnson, both the informed wingers, there on the flanks with Rooney on his own up front. Let's get through some of your questions. To Nick Hornby, 14 on the Mirror Football website. Yes, Shay Given could leave City before the deadline, but they won't be selling to Arsenal to strengthen them. Celtic look a better bet. To Patel and DCozy09, I can see Liverpool buying Paul Konchesky from Fulham, Ola Toivonen from PSV, and then maybe even Scotty Parker from West Ham. To Franksy on YouTube, A good midfielder for United would indeed be the standard Liège player Stephen Defoe. The word is they may do something before the deadline, despite what they're saying. To Nicaragua in Melbourne, Australia, Newcastle have indeed been in pole position to get Hatem Ben Arfa from Marseille. We spoke about that earlier. Liverpool and Arsenal, however, have expressed an interest, so that may well go to the wire. Top 6 time, and Levy is in Montreal, Canada. He's got Chelsea as his champions and Arsenal finishing second. He says, although I'm an Arsenal fan, I can't see them beating Chelsea at this point. They simply cannot contain Drogba. Levy's got the 2 Manchester clubs in his Champions League places, which means for him, Spurs will have to win it to get back in there. Can't see that. Tanvir Ahmed has Man United as his champions from Chelsea and Arsenal, but I can't see United having the scoring prowess of Carlo Ancelotti's men. And have a guess who Gunner for Life has as his title winners. Yes, Arsenal. He's got them ahead of United and Chelsea. His heart's ruling his head very much there. Right, now, we're still getting lots and lots of entries to our Premier League shirt competition. Remember, you can win the shirt of your choice. We've got a Liverpool one here, but you won't be winning that, of course. You'll be getting the shirt of your choice. Today is the very last day that we're taking entries. We want to know which team outside the top 4 placings after this weekend's matches will have scored the most goals. Any team inside the top 4 places will not count. It's teams from 5th to bottom. Now on YouTube, Persian123 Booms in Virginia thinks it's going to be Aston Villa. Rassans in Dublin thinks it's going to be Spurs. On the Mirror Football website, R. Catanese is a Man City fan, thinks it will be Spurs. Levain's in Belgium thinks it will be Newcastle. So too does Miklas in Seattle. On our email, spy@mirror.co.uk, Perry Walker says Spurs. Stephen Dayton says Newcastle. Samson in Finland thinks it will be Man City. And Mike Span thinks it will be Spurs. He says, PS Football Spy doing a great job. Can't wait to see the Champions League version. Thanking you. Keep your teams in your top 6s and your bottom 6s coming into us here on the Football Spy Show. I am back on Monday, and on Tuesday we'll be with you all day. As you know, it's deadline day, so we're looking forward to that. In the meantime, some predictions from me for the games this coming weekend. I think it's going to be Blackburn 2, Arsenal 2, Spurs 3, Wigan 0. I'll be at that game. Chelsea 4, Stoke 0, and Manchester United 3, West Ham 0. We'll know on Monday, of course, if I'm right. But in the meantime, enjoy your football.